Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session on ChatGPT. Thank you for joining us. Now, before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that the land we identify as RTO9 is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Huron-Wendat peoples. RTO9 honors the land, the people, and the treaties, recognizing the original guides of these territories and their enduring contributions. As treaty people, we all share the responsibility to uphold these agreements in a fair and respectful way. As a partner of Indigenous Tourism Ontario, RTO9 is committed to supporting Indigenous communities by creating space for their stories and helping foster socioeconomic growth through tourism. Now, I'm just going to touch on a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. First, if you didn't hear, this workshop is being recorded and will be available for viewing after today's session on the RTO9 website, which is just rto9.ca. There will be time for questions. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to prop them into the Q&A box. That can be done anonymously. It's at the bottom of your screen, or you can pop it into the chat window on the side and we'll get to them when we can. You're also going to receive an email following today's session. It's going to have a quick 2-minute survey link. If you're able to spare some time to review the workshop, that would be really greatly appreciated. And now, without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to our lovely facilitator this morning, Elaine Alexander.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. I'm going to share my screen. If you can see my screen right now, can you pop something in the chat for me? So, in the chat, put in, do you like iced coffee or hot coffee? Who likes iced coffee? Awesome. Both. Nice. Awesome. Excellent. Okay, so you can see my screen. That's amazing. I'm actually going to go back. Um, Welcome. I'm Elaine Alexander. We'll get into that in a second. This is Prompting 101. Talk to it like a boss. You can't drink. That's amazing. And we're doing this because if you talk to it like a robot, it's going to sound like one. And so I'm super excited to talk about prompting today. In the chat, put in, have you used ChatGPT at all? Are you brand new, haven't opened it, or you've explored a little bit? Amazing. Yes, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so our goal today is that you'll walk away with prompts that get personality, not just beige. Um, we're using it for research. That's amazing. Writing newsletters. Yes, it's addicting. Absolutely. It's the tool that I use the most every day. Um, So hopefully today you'll get some tips on how to actually get your prompts to work a little bit better. In the chat, put in what you do. So give me an idea of what you're using it for. Some people said research, some people said brand new, but what are you actually trying to do? If you're part of an organization and you're on staff, what your position is and what you use it for, or if you're an entrepreneur or a small business, what are you selling? That would be super helpful. So we'll walk away today, prompts that get personality, not paragraphs of beige. If you used it before and you'll start seeing it online, as you start using it more, it will start sounding like everyone else and you'll pick up on that. We want structure that saves time and sanity because sometimes the robots give weird answers back. And then confidence to make ChatGPT sound like you, your destination, your product, your service, whatever it is that you're wanting to do. So we've got research exhibits, community development work, homemade bath and body products. So we've got a range, boat tours, legal writing work. Amazing. Association president, run a commercial sharing kitchen. So we've got a huge range, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm Elaine. I'm a business coach and strategist. I'm also a therapy grad student, so I'm really interested in the mental health conversation around AI. I'm married to a tech geek, and I tell this story often, but about 2.5 years ago, my husband went to the Microsoft Build Conference. AI was just starting to come out, and he came home and said, if you don't use ChatGPT every single day, we can't stay married. And very dry, very sarcastic. I ignored him for a year. And then last year, I had to leave my contract position really, really quickly, and I had to pivot. And one of the things that I started doing was AI. It helped me so much. And then I started exploring the uses and all kinds of different things. I'm also a toddler mom in my 40s, and I'm a world traveler. So I love tourism. I've been to over 35 countries. I'm here on behalf of Mellow Brew. Kedian was here the last time, and I will be taking over this series. So let's get started. So, why prompting matters? ChatGPT is not a psychic, it's obedient. And so it's going to mirror your clarity. If your prompts are a mess, your output is going to be too. So, good prompts get gold, bad prompts get blah. And I'm going to show you the little things that you can do to make your prompts so much better. So most people treat ChatGPT like Google. And the one thing that I want to say is that ChatGPT hallucinates a lot. So if you're using it for research, there's better tools because it sometimes will make up links, it will make up research. I don't know if you've heard of the scandal where a company in Australia used it to submit a report to the government. It was a $400,000 report, and half the content in it was made up by ChatGPT. And so we always, always want to check. Um, so most people right now are treating ChatGPT like Google. They'll ask things to do in Kingston, and then ChatGPT answers, here's things to do in Kingston. And it's just blah. It's okay, but there's no heart, there's no story, there's no sparkle. It's just beige. And so the more specific we can get, the better. Now, a lot of people say, I expected ChatGPT to help me brainstorm, and it will, but if you're unclear, it's going to mirror that and it's not going to be clear. And so the clearer, the more concise, the more stuff you give it, the better. And think of it like um, a multiple choice test. So, when you're taking a multiple choice test and you don't know the answer, you're rewarded for guessing because you might get it right. And so, what ChatGPT does is it's never going to say, I don't know. It gets rewarded for making stuff up, unfortunately. And so, one of the things that we need to be careful of is giving it enough details so that it's not making it up. We can also prompt it. I'm going to show you that as well, so that it's not going to make things up as much. But also, we need to be checking, right? We never ever use the first draft. That's not a good thing. So, say what you want, not what you hope for. Give it context, who you are and why it matters. Set the tone, and tone is super important and should match your brand tone. So if you are a really funny social media person and Wendy's has a great, Twitter account and they're really funny, they can pull off witty. But if you're selling mental health services, probably witty is not the tone you're looking for. You're looking for calm and grounded and friendly unless you're poking fun at certain things. So match the tone of your brand. That's super important. And then define the format. So give it a idea of the output that you want. And I'm going to get more specific in this in a second. So beige in, beige out. And I remember when I pivoted last year, I asked it to give me name ideas for a company. And they gave me some, and I picked one and I ran with it for 3 months. And then 3 months later, I checked and it was trademarked in the US. And of course it was because we were all asking the same questions. And so asking more specific, drilling down, getting into the details is going to avoid it because everybody's asking the same questions. So bad prompts are write something, right? Write a social media post. Is a bad prompt. Make it catchy. Another one is make it better. That one I've been guilty of using. Sometimes I was just frustrated and that's all I can think of. And can you post something? So if your prompt could be printed on a beige wall, don't send it. Everybody else is asking that same question, and they're going to get the same output. And so, as people are using AI more and more, we're noticing that everybody sounds the same. And if you sound the same, you won't get found. And so, the better your prompt, the more specific, the better the output. So the gold formula that turns huh into heck yes is context, task, and tone. And so give it to context. Talk to it. Tell it your life story if you need to. Tell it your brand story. Tell it your organization's story. Give it background. If you are in an organization and you are an employee, give it your role. We'll get into roles in a second. Tell it about your organization, your ideal clients. If you've done any kind of branding work, any kind of deep dive into an avatar, into your ideal client, into their problems, into their pain, give it all of that. Now, the interesting thing is if you are using ChatGPT and you're on the Pro, on the Plus plan, the $20 a month US, then it will save some of this and you don't have to repeat it. And I'll show you some of that as well. Then give it a direct command. So think of it as your personal assistant, your VA, your assistant in your organization. You wouldn't tell them, make me a spreadsheet, right? A spreadsheet of what? What do you want? How many columns? What information do you want? If you're if you wouldn't say it to a live person, if there's not enough detail and the human wouldn't know what to do with that, then don't say it to ChatGPT. Give it more detail. And then tone. So tone's super, super important. You can adjust tone if you don't like it. I, in this presentation, was like, make it a little funnier. And then it went too far and used some words there. I was like, those should not be on a webinar. And so I asked it to pull it back. And also, my ChatGPT, because I am on the plus plan, is programmed so that it never uses some of the words that I absolutely can't stand. And so I'll show you how you can save that as well. If you're on the plus plan, you don't have to redo that work all the time. If you're not, then you would have to tell it again. Um, Here we go. All right, so role-based prompting. This is one of my favorite things. So ChatGPT is access to information, but it's also looking at patterns. It is the best pattern recognition software tool that we have. And so it's going to go out and look at things from the perspective of all of the information on all of the internet. And actually, I saw some stats. It's pulling from Reddit, apparently, the most. Wikipedia, I think, was four. Social media is down there. And I think Google was lower on the list after Wikipedia. And so it's going out and looking at all of the internet. And so if you give it a role, it's going to go and look at that information specifically. And so you can say things like act like a travel blogger, act like a food critic, act like an expert social media manager, any role that exists, any position that a human holds, you can give it that role and it will act like that. And when you do that, it gives it more context. It gives it the parameters it needs to do its job well. Because if you don't give it a role, it's just acting like all of the information, all of the roles. And so if you narrow it down, it gets much better. So any human role that exists, you can give it, and it's going to specify your output. Any questions so far? So in the chat, put in one thing that you've learned so far. Give me best bits for right now, just so that I know that I can't see anyone. So nice. Yeah, roles for sure. Amazing. Anything else? Gets rewarded for making stuff up. Yeah, it does, right? We get rewarded for guessing on the multiple choice test. And so it's working on the same premise. You can program ChatGPT to not use certain words. Oh my God, you can do this in a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you that. Give it context. Not good for research. No, the one that you can use deep research, and I'll show you that. But the one I use for research for academic journals pulling is called Cite, S-I or SCITE dot AI. Um, and so that's going to pull all the journals, all the stuff. You can use deep research in ChatGPT, and I'll show you that setting, but it is much, much, much slower. The tool I use for academic research is Cite.ai, and I love it because it gives you summaries and it does all kinds of stuff. Yeah, writing tone, perfect. Yes, it does apologize. Um, my husband and I, when they rolled out the 5 version, we're both noticing a lot of changes. And my husband was like, "You used to be smarter," and it does apologize. It is a people pleaser, and we'll get into that in a second. So I've created some prompts for you, and these are longer prompts. They are they are not perfect, but what I like about them is that there's a role, there's context, there's a little bit of everything. And I'm going to show you what ChatGPT actually did. So the last thing I put in here is an output. And that is something that I love doing because it specifies the format that you want it in. We don't always want it in text. If you do, that's cool. And if you don't, it will do a monthly calendar. It will do a Google sheet or a spreadsheet. I put it as CSV for me. And then it will also output in a Canvas. I'm going to show you how that works because that's kind of cool. So here's a list of role-based that I got and put together. So act like a PR manager, act like a visitor center concierge, act like an event marketing consultant, act like a copywriter, act like a customer service experience coach, sponsorship coordinator, communications manager, travel influencer, anything that you can think of that a human holds that role, you can ask it to act like that. All right, so let's switch over. And here we go. So the first prompt that you saw um, on that slide, I asked it to act like a seasoned social media meet strategist and to plan 1 month of Instagram posts, promoting travel audiences, young families, including cooks, and output in a table calendar format. And so here's what it did. It gave me week by week. And you can see here, everything's right here. You can also go up and copy the whole table. You can copy the whole table into any format that you want. And so here's the copy table, and you can bring that into a Word document. You can bring it into a PowerPoint slide. You can bring it into Canva. You can bring it into a spreadsheet, and you can start editing. If you don't like what you're seeing, change the prompt. So here it asks me, do you want to add a specific town name, event dates, include hashtags, captions for templates? So I said yes, just as a prompt, just to be like annoying. And it said, no, you didn't give us a town name. You didn't give us a date. You didn't give us any of the information that we asked for. And so here it's not going to go forward with me because I've programmed mine not to do this. And so you can input all of that information and then it will output again. The next one I did was a festival planning timeline. And so act like a professional festival planner. And it outputted a CSV. And so I'm going to show you this CSV that it outputted. And I opened it in Numbers. And here you go. Now this is a completely editable file. I can bring this into Excel, into Google Sheets. I just opened it in Numbers just before we started. You can add columns. You can go back and say, no, I need this, and it will output the format that you need it for. Let's go back to ChatGPT because that's the fun stuff. Here we go. And then here's one that I said, act like an expert grant writer. Draft a first version of our funding proposal. And I asked it to output in a Canvas. So if you output in a Canvas, this is one of my favorite things to do, especially when you're using it specifically for writing. And sometimes your prompts are just not getting where you want it to go. So if you output in a Canvas, you can click Edit button, and it will allow you to live edit this text right here. So I don't like this one. I'm going to take it out, and it's going to live edit your text. Now you can go back here and say output in chat, and then it's going to close the canvas, and it's going to go back to editing it here. Okay. Now, one of the things that you can also do is save. And so if you're on the Pro, you can ask it, here is my brand voice. Please save in memories. If you save in memories, when you go down here, so I'm on the plus plan, and you go to personalization, in here, you can also set some custom instructions. So you can tell it not to use certain things, always use Canadian spelling. One of the tips that I heard is if you are doing French, um, any kind of French writing, if you set it to Franco-Ontarian French, it will do a better job than any other kind of French. So Canadian French is okay. Franco-Ontarian French, it seems to be the best prompt for getting output. You can have different voices saved, absolutely. You can have different ideal client profiles. What it's doing is in the personalization, it is storing memories. So if you look at this manage button, if you click in here, it's going to allow you to save some memories. Now you can go in here and delete these, and it will only allow you to save 100. So sometimes you'll go over, you'll have to edit. The memories don't have a cap on how long they are, so you can grab them, paste them, put them all together. But your memories is what it's pulling from. Now, the memories are also sometimes something that they are checking or pulling information from in a larger context. And so make sure that you don't have, clean up your memories, make sure you don't have anything that you don't want to be searchable in those memories. You can save ideal client profiles. This is ideal client 1, this is ideal client 2. You can have as many memories. Memories are as time savers. The reason I upgraded, hands down. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Now, here is the last thing I'm going to show you. A lot of people have writing block, but no one has talking block. And so if you click on this button right here, it's going to allow you to talk to ChatGPT instead of having to type. And most people can talk faster, not always, than type. And so if you don't know what you want your prompt to look like, if you don't know what to say, hit the microphone button, start dictating, start talking, and it will allow you to edit what it does before you send it. And it will just get what's in here out onto the web browser. And so the microphone button is wonderful. It's beautiful. Use that, and then you can add it further. If you just don't know what to say, just start talking. Just like you would to a VA, to a assistant. Use it like a voice note. And it's a great, really great tool. Yeah. I love the memories as well. Such a great tool. Okay. Any questions on the the live demo while we're here? What's the best thing? Give me best bits in the chat. What do you love? What did you learn? I lost my chat. Yeah. Still taking it all in. Awesome. Right in the tone. Yeah, that's a good one. Learn and practice. Absolutely. The in-canvas editing is one of my favorite tools. When my husband first showed it to me, I wasn't sure, but I've used it a lot. Yeah, save memories, live editing your text. Oh my God. Sometimes you just get frustrated, and instead of taking it out of the window, you can just do it in the canvas. Now, the really great thing about doing it in the canvas instead of doing it in Word or a social media post is that it learns. And so when you are editing in the canvas, it's going to learn from what you like and what you don't like, and it's going to then get smarter. And so often, if I do any editing off the platform, I'll go back and bring it and say, this is what I ended up with, so that it can learn my tone, my things, giving it feedback and bringing it the final output back into the window, into the ChatGPT, just allows it to learn even more. Amazing. All right, let's continue. Okay, so treat it like a new intern. The more directions that you can give it, the more specific, right? The better it will be. So I like Canadian spelling. It doesn't always get it right. It doesn't always remember, but most of the time it does. Um, Sound like a friendly local, focus more on family, keep it under 75 words. It's really great for, if you've done a lot of brand work, if you've done a lot of things, and then you need a quick Instagram bio, you need a quick something, it will take the really long piece and then give you the one or two sentences that you need. Um, so when you're using ChatGPT, is there any benefit to logging in first? So yes and no. Um, if you are on the paid plan, 100%, because it will remember all of your projects, it will remember all of your chats, it will remember everything. If you are not on the paid plan, it still makes you do an account, or it did before. Um, if you are not paying for it, it doesn't remember anything. And so then it doesn't matter. You have to feed it again. So hands down, I'm not a paid affiliate. I just love what they're doing. And so 100% worth the $20 a month for me, because it remembers things. So I don't have to retrain my digital assistant every day. It just remembers where I left off. Okay. We're going to get into this in more series, but projects are another great feature and advantage. So it will take your content. So let's say you've written a blog post and it's amazing. You've written it and you just need a headline. You just need a social media caption for it. You just need one little line out of it. You just need a better hook for it. Then it's really great at, copying in and then adding stuff in. Um, you can also upload files. So I didn't show you this. We should go back. You can also upload files. And so if let's say you're writing a grant and you already have a grant proposal that you used, you have a format that you liked, add that in, upload the file, and then say use this format. Or you can copy and paste it right here. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be logical in your prompt. You can say, here's my last proposal. Please use same format. And you can add spreadsheets, you can add PDFs, you can add pictures, you can add um, text conversations and screenshots of text conversations. So let's say someone sent you a list of things that you need to do. You can take a screenshot of that and upload it into ChatGPT. You can also, and this is one of my favorite things, you can take a picture of the contents of your fridge and say, what should I make for supper tonight? And it will give you a list of things and ideas out of the ingredients you have, which is pretty crazy and pretty amazing. And so there's tons and tons of uses. I get it to do meal plans. Um, there's plugins sometimes where you can like have yeah, I know. Um, there's plugins where you can have, the entire meal plan ingredients dumped into your Instacart. I loved that feature. Haven't used it in a little bit, but definitely need to get back to that. You name it, if it exists, you can use it. You can do it. Pretty crazy. Love the take a picture. Also, if you're brainstorming and you have everything on a whiteboard, but you don't know how to organize it, take a picture of the whiteboard, upload it, add that to your prompt. All right, so here we go. Now, what it can't do. So, ChatGPT can't predict words, can't, does not know where you are. In fact, doesn't know the date. And so you need to give it context. You need to tell it what you want, who you are, what all of those things. So it predicts words. It doesn't know everything, right? It will also sound really, really confident and still be wrong. So if you ask it, for example, who quoted this? Who was the first person who said this? It will guess. Sometimes it'll be right, sometimes it won't. And if you say, no, that's not the person that said that, it'll say, you're right. It's not. It's this person. And it'll keep going. It is the people pleaser. It is never going to say, I don't know. Again, it's going to fill things in. It is rewarded for guessing, not for being right. And so we always, always, always need to check. Check facts, check the links actually exist, especially if you're doing research. It will hallucinate links, it will hallucinate all kinds of things. And so we need to check. Also, never ever use the first draft that you're given. Edit, keep prompting, go back, tweak. You wouldn't usually, unless your prompt is super, super specific, unless you're working with an assistant, unless you're working with another human and you give them a detailed list of what to do, they're not going to get the project done exactly the way you want to on the first iteration. And so keep going, keep editing, keep prompting, and make sure, check that everything is actually right. So version one is never the final draft. Ask for a redo, refine and repeat. Stack your prompts, give it pictures, give it context, give it colors, give it logos, give it everything that it possibly can, because then you're setting it up for success. If you are on the paid plan, you only need to do this once. If your brand changes, you can tweak it and you can update your memories. If you are not on the paid plan, copy the output that it gives you into a Word document, into a note, into an email, into something so that you can just copy and paste back in and you don't have to redo all that work all the time. So keep a document, Google Docs, whatever you want that everyone can access that you can go back to and not have to redo this work. So the big picture is great prompts use context, tone, task, and also rule. ChatGPT learns through feedbacks. That's why writing in Canvas, going back, giving it the update, giving it the final output, going back to it is really, really important. And then you are in charge. So you hold the creative reins. It just types fast, right? And so you're still the person that's putting your name on this. So definitely check. It can speed things up. It can take the stuff in your brain out onto paper, but it's your name attached. So always check, always revise, always refine. That's everything. Does anybody have any questions?
I'm keeping an eye on it. I don't see anything in the Q&A box,
Oh,
but I'm very interested. I'm wondering, is it possible for you to maybe pull up ChatGPT and show us how to maybe customize some of the settings just so that because
mhm.
that was very neat. The memory section I didn't know
Yeah.
existed. Um, is there an easy way to make your settings customized for your business? And maybe there's like a little walkthrough that we can have to make sure that when we're inputting our prompts, we already have the basics outlined.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you one of my memories. So again, going down here, personalization, and then scrolling down. So you can have an about you section. It calls me Aline. Um, Occupation. I've recently changed some of this stuff, so I've updated my brand. But if you go in, you can actually add in all kinds of memories. And so if you have a brand guide, let's say you have brand guide, upload the PDF and then say, save this as my brand guide in my memories. And obviously, I didn't give it anything. If you don't want it to make anything up, you say, ask me anything I missed before you proceed. Now, if you're not sure about your prompt and you have no idea what to do, you can say, act as a prompt engineer. Make this prompt better and ask me anything you need before you proceed. There's also a prompt, and if you go to Reddit, it's called Lyra, and there is a prompt. I've actually done this, so my prompt does not, my ChatGPT does not hallucinate nearly as much. And so if you go to just type in Lyra prompt, L-Y, I'm going to put it in the chat, Lyra, Lyra, and you can grab that and it's going to stop the hallucinating a little bit more. So mine always stops me and says, wait a second, you didn't give me this information because I grabbed that prompt. Um, so it will, anything that you don't know, it will show you. I do a lot of my own tech and yeah, I can put the research link in the chat. I do a lot of my own tech, but I have a husband who works in tech. And so often I will yell down and he works in the basement. I work upstairs. And I'm like, honey, this isn't working. And the one thing he tells me is use ChatGPT. And I'm like, it gave me the wrong instructions. That doesn't exist anymore because tech platforms are changing, right? The button used to be here, it's not here. And so he says, take a screenshot, upload it to ChatGPT, and say, this is what I'm seeing. It's not working. And it will update the instructions. Um, Site.ai is the one I use for research. It gives you a couple for free. The paid version was so worth it. The summaries, the academic stuff, it will pull up. Like I've shortened my research time in my master's program just because I will type in a question or a topic and it will pull up all the research, all the published journals. It'll tell you which ones are free and which ones are paid. It's a really great tool. And so whatever you're stuck on, if you're stuck on something, Just ask ChatGPT, I don't understand. Here's the screenshot. This is the problem I'm running into. Um, and it will give you the answer. The more information, the screenshots, the files, the PDFs, the spreadsheets, the context, the better it will do. Um, it's not great at image generation. I don't love the logos. Stay away from that for right now. The Canva AI stuff is, I also teach Canva AI. That stuff is mm, pretty crazy and you can do a lot of stuff. ChatGPT is working on images, but they all look the same right now. You're
I was
not
gonna say
seeing.
I saw one from Carol here too that's just asking you about project tabs in
Mm.
ChatGPT and if they're individual as an asks tone or role.
So let's go back. So projects are only on the paid plan, and projects you can have as many projects as you want. But the benefit of that, so I have a business one, and the benefit of that is that you can add files, you can add instructions. So let's say you have a brand guide and you can add that file and it's always going to reference that file. Um, and so you can have custom instructions based on the different folders. And so the folders keep everything together. I have one for recipes. With this one's for my business, that's family. I've got different ones, and instead of giving it custom instructions every time, or instead of pulling from the main instructions, you can have a folder for your entire business, but you can have a folder for the entire project. So you can have a spreadsheet and a to-do list for an event that you're planning, and it's always referencing that spreadsheet, or it's always doing things in that tone for that. So if you have two brands or two tones or two different things, just set up a project folder, and then you don't have to keep going. Um, and so I probably need to break up my folder because it's too big, and I want to separate things and not have to do as many custom instructions for everything. But um, if you are collecting research. And one of the things that you can do is use Site AI to grab all of your links and then paste them into ChatGPT and keep track of everything. And so that'll do well. It just does not do well with trying to find journals. So, any questions on folders?
And say I think most people getting started are probably using the free version, but the more we get into this, you might see the value in
Yeah.
swapping over to a paid plan.
Let me see if I can
Um,
find the
yeah,
Lyra prompt.
yeah, the Lyra prompt. I was gonna say that was Robert put in the chat.
I am going to.
Where is it? What is it? And how do you use it?
Pretty simple. So Lyra is on Reddit. It's a guy who got mad at ChatGPT and wanted to optimize things. And so it is right here. And all you do is go to Reddit, grab it. It's quite long. And paste it into a new chat. And then I added some things here. There we go. Um, and then you just hit send. That's it. And then you just keep going about what this is going to do. The Lyra prompt is it's going to allow you, and if you read the Reddit thread, somebody was angry that I was making stuff up. And so now with this prompt, it does that a lot less and it won't go further if it doesn't have all of the information. And so it looks weird, copy and paste it directly from Reddit into a chat, and then you can just go about your day. Keep going. Okay. Does that answer your question? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Excellent. All right, so in the chat, put the best bits. What did you learn?
And what
What
you're
did you
looking
learn?
forward to doing
Yeah,
with ChatGPT.
absolutely. That's a great one.
Now that you have some prompt ideas, let's see what
I'm
people are
expecting
putting up.
a bunch of fridge pictures uploading into ChatGPT today because I don't know about you, but in my house, what's for supper is like, oh, the mental load of that one is just, yeah, not a great one. Need to play. Absolutely. The more you play, the more you learn. How to lessen ChatGPT's rubbish answers. Yeah, that's a big one. It can do way more than you think, right? My husband has ADHD. A lot of my clients do, and organizing thoughts and staying on track is really a challenge. And so being able to brainstorm the way you need to, right, on a whiteboard, anywhere you need to, in a journal, take a picture, upload it. It will organize things. It's great for marketing. So, marketing likes certain words, like certain, let's say you're trying to find a positioning statement and you're looking for a third P word, it will give you an amazing list. So yeah, the more you ask, the more you learn. Lots of ideas.
I was going to
Awesome.
say, and I think that's the first step is just going on and trying some things out and seeing what happens. It's funny because even with me using ChatGPT, when you first start, it sounds very robotic. And if you type to it like it's another person or it's one of your friends that you talk to, the way it starts answering is totally different than how it started. It'll start using slang terms and it'll match how you speak with its answers. So you can't break it. Everyone should just give it a try. Go in there, start putting some things in, seeing how it responds, and then take all your tips that you learned today and start applying them to your business and how your prompts can actually help you maintain things, cut time in half. You can start doing, social media posts using ChatGPT. We're just going to keep exploring options here. So this is our second session. We still have another 4 to do. So if you're interested in learning even more about ChatGPT, and we have a whole bunch of sessions upcoming that delve really deep into ChatGPT and how you can have it really help you out, go over to the RTO9 website, rto9.ca, and go check out the other sessions that are upcoming. Our next session, we'll have a session in November, and then we're going to have another one in December, which will be the last one for 2025. Then we'll roll over into the new year. We have some sessions January, February. So go check them out. Sign up if what you found here was really helpful. Be sure to go sign up. We also have lots of other stuff upcoming. Tomorrow we have a session on meta ads as well. So feel free to go in, check out all the great things that are upcoming. And as a reminder, everyone's going to get a follow-up email from today's session. It's going to include a recording. So if there was something that was discussed here that you want to go back, you couldn't quite remember it, you can always go back and watch the recording, get the information from Elaine that you need, and keep progressing and trying ChatGPT out. And then we'll see you in a month for the next session. If you need anything in the meantime, feel free to reach out. We're happy to help you harness ChatGPT and start using it in a way that's going to help save you time. And thank you so much, Elaine, for taking the time and providing the session today. It was really great actually seeing the live prompts coming up and how to edit your ChatGPT to really custom answers for you and your business and your organization. So thank you so much.
Amazing. I'm so excited to be here. There's so many uses. Keep playing, keep asking. Most people don't use it because they don't know what to ask. Ask it anything, right? Like once I asked it, how would this haircut look on me? And it did an image mock-up. So
Should
ask it
I get
anything,
bangs? Should I
right?
not get bangs?
The answer is mostly no.
Yeah.
Yes, awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for attending today. We look forward to see you in the next one. Look out for that follow-up email. Again, there's just a quick survey. If you can give us some feedback, we'd really appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of your days. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thanks again, Elaine.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.